Daf Kuf Dalet Amud Aleph will begin Kuf Gimel Amud Beis, 4 lines from the bottom. We're in the middle of the sugya. We said in the Mishnah that if a person writes Shem Shimon, he intended to write the name Shimon, and he wrote the first two letters Shin Mem. He's chayiv because that's a word, and on its own it's a word. Shin Mem is a word. Name Shem. The Gemara asks, yes, but Shimon, the Mem in Shimon is not an endemem. The Mem in Shem is. So how is that considered to be writing a valid name, a valid word, if the Mems are different? The Shem, the word Shem, is supposed to have an endemem. The Gemara answers, Hu de Omar ki hai Tana. He's holding like the following Tana. In the Tanya we learned, Rabbi Yehuda Masera Imer, Nema b'shein v'niskeim. It says, Legabe, the Talmud on Sukkot. So it says that on the second day, it says on Sukkot, it says, V'niskehem. Now it could have said, V'nisko. It says, V'niskehem. So you have a extra mem. B'shishi, on the sixth day, it says, V'nisocheho. So it has an extra yud. B'shvi, regarding the seventh day, and with the Musaf on the seventh day, it says Kemishpat Tom. So it says with an extra mem. So when you take these extra letters, the mem, yud mem, hare, mem, yud mem, it spells mayim. So that's a remez, mikan, remez, l'nisuf mayim minotera. You see over here, remez for the special halacha on sukkahs that we have nisuch hamayim. Normally, the nusachim, and during the rest of the year, it's Miyayin, it's not Mayim. In Sukkot, you have Nisuch HaMayim, you have this extra special Nisuch of Mayim. So it's a Rem, it's the Mem Yud Mem. Now, you're taking the Mem, the Niskehem, it's an endemem, and you're applying it to the word Mayim, which starts off with a Mem. So, therefore, you see, Umida Pasuch Vasososum Kosher, now you're using an endemem for an opening Mem. So, and that's kosher, because that spells mayim. So similarly, we should say, sosam asal pasuach, kosher. If you have an endemem, and you wrote it pasuach, should also be kosher. So therefore, Shimon, now the Shem is supposed to be an endemem. If you wrote it pasuach, it should also be kosher. Frankly, Gemara midomi, how can you compare the two? Pasuach, vasal sosam. If it's an open letter and you made it into a closed letter, yes, we see that it's kosher because of Lui Kamalale. When you have a pasuach, an open letter that was made closed, so you had what's supposed to be mayim is supposed to be an open letter, and you use an endemem use it, and there's a remez for mayim. Yes, it's kosher. It spells mayim because of Lui Kamala. You're elevating it because the endemem, the closed letters, have a higher mila. Because those letters in the luchais were benes, as we'll see further in the Gemara. They were suspended benes. They were completely engraved from one end of the luach to the other. So there was nothing that was attached to it. So the middle portion of it was suspended in midair. And yet it stayed there suspended. It was benes. And therefore you see the special attribute to the endemem and the samach, and the letter of endemem and the letter samach. Those have those special attributes. So therefore, when you're supposed to have a open letter, an open mem, and you have an endemem, then that's a mila. Then that's elevating it. So yes, it's kosher. So that's a simon for the word mayim. Pasuach. But if it's sosum, it's supposed to be and you made it pasuach. So it's supposed to be sosum. It's supposed to be an endemem. Shame. It's supposed to be an endemem, and you made it pasuach, and you made it open. Gerua kamagarle. You're lowering it down. You're degrading it. He said, Mansbach is an acronym for the letters Mem, Nun, Sadi, Pei, and Chaf. They were instituted later on by the Nevi'im. So they're not the Iker letters. They weren't the original letters. They were only instituted later. So you see the open mem is only an institution that came later. It was not from Sinai. And therefore, if it's supposed to be an endomem and you make it an open mem, you're degrading it. Practically more of a tizbra. Can you say that these letters only were instituted later? It says in the pasuk, Eila ha-mitzvahs, it says, Eila ha-mitzvahs, these are the mitzvahs, which teaches you, she'ein ha-navi rashoy l'chadish davar me'ata, which teaches you that after Sinai, after Har Sinai, you cannot be mechadish anything, you cannot make changes, you cannot be mechadish. You can't say they were mechadish new letters. Ella, the Gemara says, those letters really existed at Sinai, but maybe but they didn't know, in later generations, they didn't know which letter comes at the beginning and which comes at the end. Also Tzaifim and Takinu. And the Nevi'im, the later Nevi'im, were Masakin, that the open one should be at the beginning and the closed one should be at the end. Frankly, Marva County, still you have the problem. You still have the same problem. And Navi cannot make a chiddush. How can you say that they instituted which letters should be at the beginning and they instituted which letters should be at the end? Ella, Gemara says, all of that existed from Sinai. When we say that the Matzbach Seifim, that is Seifim Amarim, it's not that they were Machadish, and they weren't even Machadish where they should be placed. They re-established what they determined and what was all along where they were supposed to be placed. The open ones are at the beginning and the closed ones at the end. So therefore, it's not degrading the letter by making it an open mem instead of a closed mem. And therefore, if the person who intended to write the name Shimon and he wrote Shin mem from Shimon, even though it's supposed to be an endomem and he wrote it an open mem, he's still chayv, it's still considered a word. Gufo Amar of Chisda Mem v'Samach Shemluchos b'Neis Hayoim. The mem, those letters, and the luchos were suspended. They stood by a nes. V'Amar of Chisda Ksav Shemluchos Nikram B'Fnim Nikram B'Chutz. You can read it from facing it one way or the other way because the letters were completely hollowed out. So they weren't just engraved onto the surface of the stone. They were completely cut through. They cut through the entire stone. And so the letters that were not attached, like a mem and a mem and a samach, that the middle part of it, therefore, was suspended in midair and was benes. Kigoin, like, so, therefore, benes hayom, nivam ramachista, ksav shebeluchos, nigam rifnev, nigam bechutz. You can read it either way. Kigoin, nevuv, vuvan. You can read it on one way, the word nevuv, that it would be written in one way. If you're facing it one way, it would be read nevuv. If you were facing the other way, the back side of it, it would be buvan because, as we said, it was engraved straight through and you can read it from either side. Taisus asks Akasha, why does the Gemara bring the example of nevuv? And why did it bring that example? That's not in the Aseres Adibros. But Al Kopanim, that the Gemara does give that example. And another example is Bahar and Rahav, and sorrow and Veris, and Veris. You can read it either way, because it was engraved straight through. Dirshu ben Levi, he said, also that the young Talmidim came to the base of Medrash. Now they come to today. When they said some great, tremendous chedushim that weren't even mentioned at the time Yeshua ben Nun. Aleph Beis, so they darshaned the Aleph Beis. Aleph Beis, so the first two letters they darshan. Aleph Bina, learn to Bina, to have Bina, to understanding, insight. So Aleph Beis is Meramis to Aleph Bina. Gimel Dalet, the letters Gimel Dalet is a siman for a Gmol and Dalim. You should give Chesed to the poor. My time if the Gimel Agabe Dalet. Why is the leg of the Gimel so it's stretched out and extended to the Dalet? Shekain Darka Shagon Chasodim Laras Achrei Dalim. That's the nature of people who are generous in heart, or they run after the poor to do the mitzvahs to help them out. So the regel of the Gimel Chasan is extended to the Dalet to run after him to help him. Umay time if Pshuta carried the Dalet Gabi Gimel, and why is the leg of the Dalet? Why is it facing the Gimel? Why is it extended to the Gimel? The limsa le nafshi, that the poor person should make himself available, not to be matriach, the donor. He should make himself available so that he can receive the tzedakah from the help of the Goyim Dolim, and he doesn't have to run after him so much. And why does they face the front of the dal? Why is it facing away from the Gimel? That he shouldn't face him, he should give him betzina, meaning it should be done to be done privately, discreetly, so he should not get embarrassed. The letters, we continue with Darshan Hey Vav Zeshmoshel Kodesh Baruch. That's the Isis of the Shem Hashem. Zayin Ches Tes Yud Chaf Lamed. We darshan the following. So we darshan V'im Ata Oisa Kain HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Zayin is Zon Oischa. Rebbeinu Shalom will sustain you. V'chayin Oischa, and He will give you chayin, favor. U'meitiv l'cha v'noisim l'cha Yerusha, and He'll do good for you and give you an inheritance. V'kosh lo keser l'olam haba, and He will tie for you a crown l'olam haba. Then He'll tie the keser. What are the two mems, the open and the closed, and the mem, mamar pasuch, mamar sosam? There are certain mamarim which we understand the meaning, they're more understood, and there's a closed mem, and things that are concealed, and according to some Chan means it should be concealed. So there's a mimer that is pasuach, which is open, and a mimer which is concealed, which means you should conceal it. Nun kufa, nun pshuta, you have the straight nun and the bent nun, nemen kafua, kafuf, nemen pashut. And is a person who is an onav, he's bent over, the nemen, who's bent over, he's an onav. Ba'il mazeh, he will be upright, he'll pshut the lo'ilam haba. Samachayin, what's a samachayin? Smay support anim the poor lishnachrina simonim asa b'Torah oknei isa. Make simonim for the Torah. Simonim ayin asay, and you'll be able to acquire the Torah. Pei kufa pei pshuta. There's the pei which is bent, and the pei which is straight, which refers to pei pasuch, pei awesome. Sometimes you should speak. Sometimes close your mouth. The pei is the mouth. Sometimes keep it open, sometimes closed. Tzadi kfufa, tzadi pshuta. The tzadi is the straight one, and there's the bent one. It's tzadi kofav, tzadi pashut. The tzadi who is straight, the tzadi who is bent over. That's the same drosha that we learned by the neman, that he is bent over and he'll be straight. Our answer is it's telling you to do it more, extra time. That you should have extra ma'oid havish fal ruach, like the Pet says in Pirkei Avos. You should have extra nivus. That the Torah is given with humility, with bending of the head. Kuf is kodesh, reish is rosha. So that's the kuf stands for a kodesh, and the reish for rosha. My time the kuf me reish. As opposed to the Gimel Dalet over here, the face of the Kuf is turned away from the Reish. So why is the face of the Kuf facing away from the Reish? Amar Kodesh Baruch Hu, Ein ani yochel iska takal l'rosh. Kodesh Baruch Hu saying, Kivyochel, I'm turning my way, I cannot face the Rosh. Umay time akara the Kuf tluya. Why is the leg of the Kuf suspended? Why is it not attached to the roof? The so that the Rasha, if he does tshuva, there's an opening for him to come to the Kodesh, we let him come in. Well, why do we need the opening by the roof of the kuf? There's another opening around on the bottom. Why does it have to be an opening towards the roof, towards the top of it? There's another opening around the bottom, so he can go through that one. So Leil Bahach, some silent Reish Lakish, Lam Reish Lakish, my Dechsiv Imelates who Yolitz, Ulanov Mitin Chain. For the lads, he will respond in kind. That if there's a person who's a letz, So then he will be responded to him also with cynicism. But if a person is on onav, he will be yitain chen v'anovim yitain chen. He'll find favor. He'll find chen. So it means that we respond. The Kadosh Baruch Hu responds to the person according to the way he acts. If a person wants to be tomei, it's open. There's no stopping. The Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't stop him. The door is open. So we don't make him go around the bottom and come in, so to speak. The door is open very close to him. If he's bolatar, there's an open door to come and to be chayzer b'tshuva. Shin sheker taf is emes. My time is sheker bekarven mila and emes merachtan mila. And why is it that sheker, the isis of sheker, are come close together? The shin kuf reish are all together at the end of the aleph base. And emes merachtan mila, the letters of the aleph of emes are spread throughout the aleph base. Aleph is the beginning, mem is in the middle, and tov is at the end. So it's easy to come by sheker. They're close together. It's easy to come by there. Emes, the truth, is hard to come by. And so therefore it's all spread over through the whole aleph base. You have to search for it. It doesn't come, it's not easy at hand. It's something that you have to look for it and search for it. Why do the letters of sheker? They stand on points. The sheker, the shin comes to a point at the bottom. The reish is a point, and the kuf comes to points rather than a flat surface. And emes melaben libune, and emes stands on more foundations like bricks. The mem has a solid straight line at the bottom, and the tov has two parts, but one part of it is a leg. And the aleph also has two parts at the bottom, and the left side of the aleph also has like a leg, a horizontal portion. Because the two memarames that kushta koi shikra lekoi, that the truth endures. So it has a foundation. It has what to stand on. Sheker has no foundation. It doesn't stand. The more continues now darshaning the aleph base through the atbash. Atbash pairs the first letter, aleph, with the last letter, with the taf, at, and the second letter, base, with the shin, and so forth. And it goes, and the gimel, then it pairs it with the reish. So each one is paired, the first and the last, and the second last, the third and the third last. So the Gemara darshans as follows. Atbash, oisi, tiev, atav, loi. It stands for oisi tiev. So at is oisi, aleph, tiev. He rejected me. He made me an abomination. He rejected me. And therefore, I will do the same to him. Bash, beishin, is a Rashi Tevis for Biloi Chashak. He did not desire me. Shmi, Yachal Alav. Should my name rest on him? Gar, Gimel, Reish is Gufa Time, Arachem Alav. The Gimel is Gufa, his body. Time, Reish, should I be Merachem on him? Dalet Kuf stands for Dal Soisai Noal. He closed my doors, and therefore, Karnav Aloyagadeya, should I not cut down his horns, his pride? So Adkan Midas Rishoim. So far we've been talking about Rishoim. Aval Midas Tzadikim, we darshan as follows. The Atbash is Im Ata Boish, if you're embarrassed by your Averas, Gardak. Then Gardak. Im Ata Isakain, Guar Bedoik. Then you will live if you are embarrassed in your Averas. You do tshuva, Guar Bedoik, you'll dwell in the Shemaim. Hey, Sadivav Pei, we darshan as follows. So again, continuing the fifth letter, the fifth last letter, the pairing of the beginning and the end. Chatzitza have bencha la'af. If you do tshuva, then there'll be a chatzitza, a separation, a barrier between you and anger. Zayin ein ches samach tes nun. We darshan as follows: ve'ena tamiz lazim and a sultan, and you won't have to tremble from the sultan. Yud Mem Chaf Lamed Amar Sar Shal Gehenim L'Fnei Kodesh Baruch Hu. He says, Rebbeinu Shalom, Rebbeinu Shalom, L'Yam Kol. He said, throw all the chaitim, throw them into the sea. Amar Kodesh Baruch Hu, or Baruch answers, Aleph Ches Samech. So he dashes the follows. This is another method of pairing. Atbash is the beginning and the end. This is Achas B'ta Give. It's pairing the first and the seventh. So it's groups of seven. It's the first and first and the eighth rather. It's the first letter and 7 letters later, the first and the eighth. So it's Aleph and Ches, and then again 7 letters later. It's Beis coupled with the letter which is 7 letter, which is the Tes, and then Ayin and Gif. So you pair it with the first one and then 7 letters later, the second, and that's how you go through the Aleph base. So we darshan achas b'tal give ani chas aleim b'nei shebal to begif. I have rachmanis on them because they rejected and they rebelled against gif, which is nos, which is niyuf. The cats we darshan dakim heim, they're innocent, kenim heim, they're upright, and sadikim heim, they're sadikim. Hey lamed kuv ein l'chol chelik b'hem. You don't have any chelik in them. So you have no chelik. We darshan the hay and the ches are sometimes interchanged. So ein l'cha chelik b'hem. You have no portion of them. Leave them alone. Umerazan shin tov amar gehenem rebbeinu shloilam mori. So we darshan the mem mori, my master zineni mizara shel sheis. Feed me. The gehenem wants to be fed from the descendants of Shes. Amar Loi, Kodesh Baruch Hu says to him, the Kodesh Baruch Hu responds. So this is another system where you divide it into 2 groups of 11. So the Aleph is paired with the Lamed, and the Beis with the Mem, and Gimel with the Nun. So Kodesh Baruch Hu says, Amar Loi, Aleph Lamed Beis Mem Gimel Nun Dalet Samech. To where will I lead them? Legan Hadas, to the garden with Hadasim, to Gan Eden. Hey Ayin Vav Pei Amar Gehenim L'Kodesh Baruch Hu Rebbeinu Shloilam Ayef Enochi. He says, I'm tired, I'm hungry. Feed me with some Rishoyim. Zayin Tzadich Ches Kuf Halalo Zara Shel Yitzchak. So we darshan the Zayin Zara Tzadi Yitzchak. And therefore, they're protected. You can't have them. Tov Reish Yud Shin Chav Tov Tar. He says, wait, I have for you. I'll give you Tar. Yesh li kitas shalei duchacham shani naisamcha. You can't have Zerah Shel Shesh. You can't have the Yidden. But I have groups of people, groups of Oivdei Avodah Zorah, and I'll feed them to you.